We now come to the funnest phase of all. Phase 4, visualizing your future self. This phase is so exciting because you get to soak in a future vision of something incredible that you want to attract into your life. So go ahead, grab some popcorn, and we're going to get started. Just kidding about the popcorn. Please don't do that. It's full of refined sugars and vegetable oil. Leave the popcorn out. Let's get started with phase 4. First thing to understand is we've now finished the first 3 phases, all of which were based on present emotion. Now we talk about your future. You're going to be visualizing your future self. If you have done Mind Valley programs that guide you through listing your goals or getting clarity on your future, this is where you take the goals and visions from these programs, like the 3 Most Important Questions program or the Lifebook program, and you plug them into the 6th phase. In this phase, we're going to practice something called creative visualization. It is the act of seeing in front of you the visions of what you want to attract in your life. It could be health, it could be money, it could be relationships. And what science is beginning to see is that creative visualization is a powerful tool. Creative visualization is being used by athletes around the world to improve their performance in sports, because we know that what the brain visualizes actually creates shifts in the body. Athletes have been using this for decades, particularly athletes in the former Soviet Union. The Australian psychologist Alan Richardson proved the power of creative visualization in an experiment on basketball players. He found that basketball players who visualized themselves shooting a ball into a basket were almost as effective as players who were directly practicing on the court. Visualizing yourself performing actually is almost as good as the real thing. But the studies get even more intriguing. Another study called the finger abduction experiment showed that if you take 2 groups of people, one of whom are exercising their fingers using a finger movement like this, and the other simply visualizing their fingers exercising, both groups see a corresponding increase in muscular strength of their fingers. Think about that. Visualizing yourself exercising seems to create similar effects to actually exercising. But again, we'll go deeper. Studies on imagery therapy, first pioneered by Jose Silva in the Silva method, have shown that imagery therapy, which is where you visualize yourself healing, actually has a powerful impact on actually accelerating healing in the body. Dr. O. Carl Simonton studied this with cancer patients. He looked at the Silva method and imagery therapy, and he found that cancer patients who were terminal, who were given roughly 12 months to live, saw their lifespans actually increase to 24 months on average when they saw, using imagery therapy, themselves healing and recovering. Furthermore, several cancer patients, a small percentage, but still, several of them went through a spontaneous remission and their cancers completely disappeared. Now, the creative visualization formula that we are using in the 6th phase comes straight from the work of Jose Silva. Mind Valley today is the biggest promoter of the Silva method, and because of my work in meditation and creative visualization, I've been selected as the face of the Silva method. My other program on Mind Valley called Silva Ultramind is the newest version of the Silva method. Its founder, Jose Silva, passed in 1999, and I simply wanted to do my best to take his work and bring it forth. If you really like what you're learning here, and if you are a Mind Valley member, feel free to dive into the Silva Ultramind program to take your creative visualization to the next level. But here, what you're going to learn is a simple yet effective approach to creative visualization that you're going to plug into the 6th phase. Here's why I'm so excited about it. When I was 17 years old, I started practicing creative visualization. Again, my roots were the Silva method. I learned it from a book. Back then, as a 17-year-old, I had a major problem with my skin, pimples. For 5 years, I'd been going to various dermatologists. My mom had been helping me with different treatments. Nothing could get rid of the pimples. Practicing creative visualization, I healed my skin in 5 weeks. 5 years of suffering, 5 weeks, simply with creative visualization. You're going to learn that approach. But when I gained this victory, with influencing my skin, I wanted to try creative visualization for something else, improving the quality of my life. And this is where it gets really interesting. Many people believe that visualizing a future outcome or a goal makes you more likely to attain that goal. Is this the law of attraction? Or is this the brain's reticular activating system? The reticular activating system is that fleshy part at the back of your head that is your brain's goal-setting mechanism. It helps you identify things that you are searching for. It's the reason why if you suddenly buy a white Tesla, you start noticing other white Teslas on the highway. Whether it's the law of attraction or it's the RAS, the reticular activating system, to me doesn't really matter. The point is, when you practice creative visualization, often you find opportunities, synchronicities, coincidences seemingly appear to you to help you get to where you want to be. Now, my crazy story with creative visualization and why I became such a believer of it started because when I was practicing the Silva method, I decided to aim for a really big goal after I healed my skin. So that goal was to represent my country, Malaysia, in an international martial arts tournament. It was 1993. I was 17 years old, and I was really into Korean karate, commonly called Taekwondo. So one day my instructor told me that there was going to be a major Taekwondo competition, and everyone in our dojo or our school was going to compete with each other, and the winner would go to a inter-school competition, and the winner of that competition would represent Malaysia at the US Open in Colorado. I had never, ever set foot in the United States. I'd always wanted to go, and I decided that this was my goal, this was my passion. To make it even more desirable, my instructor had promised that the entire crew from Malaysia that was going to Colorado, we'd be making a stopover at Disneyland. Yes! 2 childhood dreams were about to get activated, so I knew I had to win this competition. Now, here's how it worked. You had to face 3 different people holding 3 pieces of wood. Each wood was 2 inches. You had to do 3 kicks, boom, 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 and break all 3 pieces of wood in the fastest time possible. So I was visualizing this every day for months, 3 times a day on certain days. On my visual screen, I would see myself in my Taekwondo uniform, proud, powerful, strong, breaking all 3 pieces of wood, winning the gold medal, going to the inter-college competition, winning that, ending up at the US Open. And then the actual day came. So I heard the whistle blow. I stepped to where I was about to begin. The whistle was going to blow again, and I had just a few seconds to break 3 pieces of wood. The whistle blew, and I let out my 3 kicks, exactly like I visualized them. Boom, boom, boom. I put my feet down, and I looked at the wood. And the wood was still there. But I was so confident that it was still gonna break. You ever seen those like samurai films where the samurai slices someone, and the person is still whole, then slowly their body slides apart? I was convinced all those wood was certainly gonna slice apart and fall down, and there was going to be rapturous applause. 1 minute later, the wood was still solid. The whistle blew again, and I was out. I failed to break a single piece of wood. I looked at my foot, cursed at it, sank away in silence, and realized I was out. I'd been visualizing this, but I was out. My dreams were shattered. Now, it turned out that the inter-dojo or the inter-school competition was still happening, and I went to sit in the stands, miserable, sad, feeling a little bit pathetic, to support my fellow students in the competition. One of these students was a guy called Daniel, who was a friend, and we were around the same size, and he had made it. So he was there in the competition, doing his best, and Daniel came up to me in the midst of the competition and said, Vishen, I think I injured my foot. My next competition is the wood breaking, and I already made it. I'm really going to be going to the US Open. I don't want to get my foot worse. I think I have a hairline fracture. Do you have your uniform with you? Could you put it on, and could you just take my spot in this wood breaking thing? So I happen to have my uniform with me. Back then I was 17 years old, and I carried my Taekwondo uniform with me quite a bit. I watched Superman, the movie, and I knew that if I ever saw someone get mugged, I could probably hop into a telephone booth, change into my Taekwondo uniform, boom, spring out, capture the robber. So I happen to have my uniform with me. So I put on my uniform. I went there representing my dojo, even though I was not supposed to be at that competition. Once again, the whistle blew, and I went boom, boom, boom. hit all 3 pieces of wood, put my leg back, and this time I heard the applause. I looked up. Wood 1 was broken. Wood 2 was broken. Wood 3, it just broke. And the crazy thing was, I did it in 52 seconds, which turned out to be the fastest breaking time in that event. I won the gold medal. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I won the gold medal. And I got my trip to the US Open. At the age of 17, I got to travel to the United States, stop over in Disneyland, of course, and then go compete and represent my country at the US Open 1993 Taekwondo Championships. Now, a couple of interesting things about that story. I got exactly the end result I visualized, but it didn't come to me as I expected. And this is the first rule of creative visualization. Don't obsess about the how. Focus on the what. Focus on the end result. If you want to go deeper in this philosophy, take the 3 most important questions course on Mindvalley. It's all about setting goals where you're obsessed with the end result. It's a short course, just 5 or 6 days, but it'll change the way you see goal setting. That's rule number 1, the end result. Don't visualize the how. Don't get obsessed about the how. Understand that the how is going to work out for you. Focus on the end result. But there's a second rule. And to understand the second rule, I got to go deeper with the story. So I show up at the US Open. And here I'm in the sparring competition. This is where you actually face another human being and you kick and punch each other for points. Now, when I got to the sparring competition, I realized that I was facing Glenn Rybak, the Dutch national champion. Now, if you know anything about Dutch people, you know that these are the tallest people in the world. And Taekwondo is a kicking art form. And when you have the legs of a giraffe, you have an inherent advantage in Taekwondo. So here I was facing Glenn Rybak, who was towering above me. As far as I was concerned, he was part human, part giraffe. And his leg reach was tremendous. But just as I was about to start the competition, the referee blows a whistle and calls me out of the ring. And he says, "Kid, you can't go in there with glasses." You see, back then, I wore glasses, sports glasses. And I said, "I understand, referee, but these are sports glasses, they don't break." And the referee says, No, kid. That's Malaysian rules. In Malaysian rules, you can probably fight with glasses. Not in America. In our country, everybody sues everybody all the time. Your glasses break, a bit of glass gets in your eye. You could sue this entire US Open organization for millions of dollars. Take off your glasses. I explained to the referee that I'm myopic, short-sighted. My power is minus 700. Without my glasses, I couldn't see. And I didn't have contact lenses at that time. The referee said, "You either take off your glasses or you don't get to fight." So I take off my glasses and I step into the ring to face Mr. Glenn Rybak, Giraffe Man, completely blind. At least, I think I'm facing him. He could be to my left, he could be to my right. I couldn't see a thing. And as I was trying to figure out where the hell this human giraffe was, boom, I get kicked in the head within 20 seconds and land up on the ground. I wake up again, trying to find the giraffe. And once again, I'm kicked in the head and I'm on the ground. I was knocked out. At that point, my coach tosses in the towel. The referee blows his whistle and the match is over. I officially became the fastest knockout in the 1993 US Open Taekwondo Championships. I was taken to hospital. I laid in a hospital bed reflecting on what happened. It wasn't all that. Next to me was Paris Armani. That's an actual name. He was the Taekwondo champion participating in the Olympics. We had a good chat. But I was the fastest knockout in the entire competition. But I realized something. I got exactly what I visualized. When I was visualizing at home, seeing myself at the US Open, I saw myself put on my robe with the word Malaysia at the back. I saw myself step into the ring confidently with my glasses on. I saw myself with the bright lights on me. I just wish I'd seen myself actually walk out of the ring and not be carried out on a stretcher. But I got exactly what I visualized. And that is the second rule. You're going to get exactly what you visualize, so see it to completion. And one thing you can do is, as you visualize this, end with the phrase, "let this or something better happen." These 2 rules of visualization will help refine the process. And now, let me tell you how the exercise is going to work. So what you're going to do is derive straight from the Silva method. The Silva method is the approach I used when I was a teenager to heal my skin, to visualize myself at the US Open, to get my ass kicked by Glenn Ryback. But it's the same approach. The Silva method is now part of Mindvalley, which gives me the license to teach you this approach within the context of the 6th phase. So here's what Jose Silva said about visualizing. Firstly, don't see the visual image on the back of your eyelid. Some people make that mistake. Rather, if you are really good at visualization, you can see yourself in the 3D space. So in other words, if you're seeing yourself celebrating your 50th birthday on a yacht, you can see yourself on that yacht with the wind blowing, the seagulls, people clinking champagne glasses. But if not, because that can be tough for people, imagine you're seeing a giant, massive television screen in front of you. Silva suggests that the screen should be at least 6 feet in front of you and 15 degrees above the line of horizon. Why 15 degrees above? When your eyeballs are lifted 15 degrees above the line of horizon, it helps induce alpha waves, which is crucial to the creative visualization process. So, giant TV screen or movie screen, and on that screen, you're going to project a movie, a video of what it is that you want to see. So I might see a video of myself walking the world with beautiful, clear skin. Or you might see a video of yourself at the US Open. Or you might see a video of yourself in this beautiful new car. Now, as you see the video, you're going to focus on this image for about 1 to 2 to 3 minutes. But here's the important thing. You want to bring in different senses. Let's go back to the car example, okay? So you see a video of yourself with the car. Don't just see the car, feel the car. Imagine what it's like to be sitting on that leather seat. Imagine your hands on the steering wheel. All of those have to do with the feeling of touch. Imagine the smell of the new leather. Imagine the sound of the wind blowing past you if the car is a coupe. Bring in taste. Imagine the taste of the air as you're driving down the highway. Bring in as many of your 5 senses as possible. Make it as real as possible. I'm going to be guiding you through this. And then make sure you bring in the most crucial ingredient, which is feeling. Don't just see it as a passive spectator. Feel it. Feel the joy, the pride, the feelings you feel as you power this car, as you drive this car. Feel that. Feel the feelings. And let those feelings be as strong as possible. And that's it. This is a basic approach to creative visualization. When you go deeper into Mindvalley, when you learn programs such as Be Extraordinary or the Silva method, we go way deeper in the act of creative visualization, manifesting, bending reality, for lack of a better word. But for the sake of this program, we're going to keep it really simple. You see the giant TV screen, 6 feet out in front of you, 15 degrees above the line of horizon. You see the visual image of this future vision of yourself, and you make it as realistic, 5 sensory, and you bring in as much emotions as you can. And that's what we're about to do next. So next, I'm going to guide you through the 6th phase, phase 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go to phase 4. Now, interestingly, many spiritual teachers whom I've shared this approach with agree with this approach. They say that by doing phase 1, 2, 3, which is the act of compassion, gratitude, and forgiveness, you amplify the results you're going to get in phase 4. So there's a reason we put phase 4 exactly where it is. And when you come to phase 4, you are actually in the precise frame of mind to be practicing creative visualization. So now let's get started with phase 4.